구원해준 나의 천사 나의 세상 난 이상 새 고향이 널 만나러
After showering, Jimin texted Ryan to be ready. Her pulse fluttered, and she could not stop smiling. When Jimin knocked on her door, she opened it with glowing eyes. Her face warmed with a joy that lit the quiet hallway. It was only 6 in the morning, yet the air between them already carried a secret kind of thrill. Ryan closed her door softly and stepped across the carpeted hallway to him. I think we have a couple of hours before they get ready, she whispered. Jimin nodded, his gaze steady on her. We can join them once they come out. Ryan added, though she knew it was his idea to rise early, to steal these moments when Tokyo was still hushed and their world untouched. Her fingers tugged lightly at the hem of her dress, uncertain if you would notice. Without looking down, Jimin spoke. Can you say that you look pretty? His voice carried a quiet sincerity, almost unpracticed yet deeply genuine. Ryan chuckled, charmed by his effort. Of course, anytime, she replied softly. You can say anything you would like. I am all ears. Jimin nodded, lips curving faintly. You look pretty, he repeated, and her smile widened before she leaned to peck his cheek. Heat spread across his skin, and though he loved the tender contact, Jimin turned his face away, concealing his reaction. Ryan chuckled again, slipping her arm through his. Can we get some coffee for us? She asked. He nodded, and together they stepped forward. When they stepped out, the early streets of Tokyo greeted them with soft light and quiet charm. Their arms linked. Ryan felt the city had never been more beautiful. With Jimin beside her, even the silence between them seemed to sing. When I saw you in our university, I cursed myself for missing that trip the last time when we were here. Ryan said, her words soft but weighted with honesty. Regret and longing shimmered in her voice, fragile yet undeniable. I badly wanted to be here, she continued, her tone steady but tender, and I am so glad. Jimin could not tear his gaze away from her, as though the entire city blurred into nothing, leaving only her face illuminated before him. After ordering their coffee, they settled at a small table near the window. Ryan scooted closer, her shoulder brushing his, as though she wished to breathe him in. The air thickened with quiet intimacy, sweet and unspoken. I could not sleep at all, Jimin confessed, his voice low. Ryan turned to him, waiting. I could not stop thinking about you, he continued, the weight of his words spilling softly. She smiled, her heart catching the rhythm of his breath. And I thought I would end up alone, but you. His voice trailed into silence, unfinished but understood. Ryan needed no words to hear him fully. Sometimes love was the clearest in the things left unsaid. As she lifted her cup, coffee foam lingered on her lips. She did not wipe it away, half expecting. Jimin to notice. When he glanced up, he chuckled softly, reaching for his phone, and snapped a picture before she could stop him. Embarrassed, Wayan quickly wiped the foam away herself, smiling faintly because God forbid a man who was still learning how to be intimate would take that step too soon. She let the moment pass, treasuring his style of her instead. They lingered in the cafe for another hour, their conversation flowing like soft music. Time folded itself around them until the spell was broken by the buzz of their phones. Their friends calling with voices that pulled them back to reality. Yeah, we are nearby. Where are we going to eat? Wayan asked into her phone, nodding as she listened. She entered the call just as Jimin rose from his chair, and together they stepped out of the cafe's golden morning light. As they walked toward the restaurant their friends had chosen, Wayan quietly slipped her fingers into his, their palms pressed together, simple yet electric. Jimin turned to her side, his smile blooming, unspoken joy alive in his eyes. When they reached the restaurant, their friends' eyes immediately fell on their intertwined hands. The teasing chorus of ooh echoed like a spark across the table. Wayne and Jimin instantly pulled away, their palms left tingling with the warmth now stolen too quickly. Gosh, stop it, Wayne muttered, cheeks flushing as she hurried to her friends. Jimin followed a step behind, his head slightly bowed, avoiding the amused eyes that lingered on him. He did not dare meet their gaze, though a quiet smile threatened his lips. Lovebirds, shall we eat now? One teased joy loafer that spilled around them. The waiter led them to a long wooden table by the wide window, the morning sun spilling golden ribbons of light across polished surfaces and clinking glassware. Wayan slipped into her seat, and almost instantly her friend climbed the spot beside her. She looked up just in time to see Jimin hesitate before lowering himself into the chair directly across. His eyes caught hers for a fleeting second, and then faltered. She wanted to call him closer to feel his shoulder brushing hers, but words stuck like unspoken secrets in her throat. Instead, she gave her friend a soft smile and lowered her gaze to the menu that suddenly seemed too heavy. Across from her, Jimin's heart pressed against his ribs with restless force. The distance felt unbearable, and yet he sat still, hands folded neatly on the table. He looked at her like a child gazing at an ice cream truck disappearing too soon. Every laugh from her friend beside her felt like another inch stolen from him. He tapped his thumb against the menu, restless, his eyes never staying from far from her face. The food, the chatter, the sunlight, all blurred except for Wayan. After a while, the table settled into quiet discussion as menus rustled. Friends pointed to dishes and debated flavors, their voices rising like a soft chorus. When the waiter approached, Wayan lifted her gaze with a gentle smile, her fingers resting against the page. Can I get the Wagyu beef sukiyaki, please? She asked politely. The name itself carried weight, the kind of order reserved for a moment worth saving. The waiter nodded, jotting his down before turning his attention to the other side of the table. His eyes landed on Jimin, who had been watching Wayan instead of the menu. The hesitation in his expression betrayed him. Wayan turned toward him, her lips curving into a smile that was both encouragement and quiet affection, as though urging him to speak. I need the same one, please, Jimin said softly, his words carrying more weight than the order itself. Wayan's eyes widened briefly, then softened into a smile. The waiter nodded, collecting the menus, and drifted away, leaving them in a fragile, unspoken quiet. Their friends fell into chatter, debating drinks and appetizers. Laughter bubbling easily, but Wayan's attention lingered on Jimin. She leaned back in her chair with a mischievous smile, sliding her heel off beneath the table as her foot brushed his ankle. Jimin froze as though the air had thinned, his back straightening, eyes darting quickly toward their friends. None of them noticed. His pulse quickened and his cheeks turned warm. God, is this really happening? He tried to steady his breath. Wayan kept her expression calm, lips curving faintly as though her foot were innocent under the table. Inside, however, she smiled at the effect she had on him, her quiet triumph glowing like a candle hidden beneath her steady gaze. The arrival of their food broke the silence. Steam curled upward from the Wagyu beef sukiyaki, carrying the rich fragrance of simmering broth, tender meat, and fresh vegetables. Plates were placed, chopsticks offered, and soon the group fell into satisfied silence. Wayan tasted the beef slowly, savoring its richness. When she felt it, a deliberate nudge against her foot. This time Jimin's foot pressed back, echoing her earlier gesture. She dared not lift her head, but her eyes flickered upward, betraying her. He was already looking at her, lips bent into a quiet smile that seemed to say more than words could. The distance across the table shrank in that gaze, their secret woven invisibly into the meal as their friends remained oblivious. Reaching across, Ryan took a piece of beef from Jimin's plate and placed it into her mouth. This one tastes better, she teased softly. Jimin chuckled, the sound warm, even though they were sharing the same dish. After the meal, the group wandered through the streets of Tokyo. Neon lights shimmered against glass buildings. Lanterns swayed gently in the breeze, and the hum of the city wrapped them in vibrant life. Jimin walked beside Ryan, shoulders brushing with every step. They passed quiet alleys scented with grilled food, shop windows glittering with trinkets, and glowing signs reflected in rain dark streets. The others laughed ahead, pointing at souvenirs, but for Oyen and Jimin, every sound seemed muffled beneath the thunder of their own hearts.